So the panicam's not the only thing threatened by the looming government shutdown. The Senate just voted to strip out the Obamacare delay from the budget bill. So now we're closer to the shutdown. There's a whole lot at stake, including on the political front. Joining me now, Sarah Palin, Fox News contributor and former governor of Alaska. Good morning. No, look what I did, Governor. I'm used to saying good morning, and now I'm in the afternoons. I need to say good afternoon, Governor Sarah Palin.
You know what? It's still morning here in Alaska, so you're spot on. And congratulations on this new chapter of your life.
Well, I guess we're just going to be real here for the next couple of minutes together.
Right.
Thanks so much for your time. Speaking of animals, I saw this article that you wrote about hunters and flushing dogs, and you used this analogy to talk about members of Congress. So explain for everyone who you meant by flushing dogs and what they do.
Well, it's a good term when you apply it to someone like Senator Ted Cruz and Mike Lee, others who are literally trying to flush out those other politicians who are in hiding. They're kind of in the woods, hiding behind symbolic votes that don't mean anything, instead of standing up and fighting for Americans. And in this case, we're talking about Americans who understand the soaring costs that will result of Obamacare and the huge government intervention that will be a result of Obamacare in our businesses and our individual lives, and that will suffocate enterprise and industry. So flushing dogs are those who get out there and make these politicians, in this case, come out from hiding and stand tall and fight for what's right.
But here's the problem, Governor, is that all Republicans right now are not being flushing dogs. I mean, you have a real division in the Republican Party right now. In fact, you have Senator Tom Coburn saying that if this whole government shutdown happens tonight, Republicans will fold like hotcakes. How are you going to bring them all into the fold?
Well, that is unfortunate, because united we stand and divided we will fall, and we will fall under Obamacare. And the middle class will be decimated because Obamacare is going to result in a part-time employment arena that most Americans are going to have to face because there's going to be so much uncertainty in businesses, and business owners are not going to be able to afford to hire more and invest more into their businesses, and have to adhere to these mandates coming down from the federal government. So it's unfortunate that the GOP isn't standing together. This is the time to be united, and a lot of this also, they need to keep in mind, has to do with the midterm elections coming up 2014. I think if they would stand united, it would send a message to say the red state Democrats who are up for re-election and are going to have to face constituents who understand the dangers of Obamacare.
You also talk in this article about how when you were governor of Alaska that you had to engage with powerful multinational oil tycoons from time to time, and that it was your experience that the only way that you get what you want in a negotiation is to not surrender too soon. So do you think that the Republicans are, I know it's going to come back to the House now, and it's stripped down from the Senate. So what is the timeline here for any kind of a surrender, if at all, with the House?
Well, that is the way that you negotiate and end up being able to get some kind of concession. And this is what we're looking for, is some kind of relief for Americans. Ideally, the relief would be the same relief that Congress gave themselves, and that is an exemption from this burdensome, unaffordable, unworkable law called Obamacare. But yes, in negotiations, you stand firm until the other guy across the table understands that you mean what you say, and then they respect you, and then you can sit down and start negotiating agreements. Unfortunately, there's been capitulation on some in the GOP establishment's part. They obviously are for Obamacare, I would say, at this point, because they haven't stood and fought and asked for that relief, in fact, demanded that relief via agreements that still can be made in these negotiations.
So what do you say to the American people, some of whom say, you know what, just get on with it? Obamacare passed 3 years ago. Why are you still hung up on this? There's nothing we can do to change it.
Well, because Obamacare is a disaster. It is a train wreck. It is huge government intervention. I believe it's unconstitutional because it violates the Commerce Clause, and the federal government really has no right in telling us what we should or should not purchase. There are so many things wrong with Obamacare, as even the Obama administration admits, because they're not ready to roll this thing out smoothly. They do admit that there is a problem here. And no, that's why we don't want to just give up and say, okay, okay, federal government intervene even more fully in our lives, more than what our founders had ever intended for this branch of government to be able to burden us. No, we don't give up. We fight for what's right, and that's why we elect those like Ted Cruz, Mike Lee, who are willing to stand firm and speak on behalf of we the people.
Well, as I said at the earlier part of the show with Donald Trump, I don't know if you had a chance to hear that, Governor, but one of the things I would love to do with my guests moving forward is at the end of the interview that they reveal one thing that maybe our viewers didn't know yet about a particular guest. And so today with you, Governor Palin, is there anything that you would like to reveal that you've never told anyone before?
Well, it seems like pretty much everybody would know everything about me, especially once you get your emails hacked, you know, and advertised. But, you know, I think something that maybe viewers would find interesting is the way that we put together these Fox interviews. I'm in Todd's airplane hangar, and Todd is the one manning the camera, and he's behind the controls.
Hi, Todd.
And yeah, Todd, we put a sign outside the door asking that the kids stay out for about 15 minutes. Don't come knock on the door. We put that sign up, and we also ask the kids to keep all the dogs outside because we've had them wander through once in a while during these hits, and it creates some chaos.
I can imagine. How many dogs do you currently have? Speaking of flushing dogs.
You know what, we usually end up babysitting our daughter's dogs, so when you add them all up, including some strays coming around, I don't know, we have a handful of them.
Well, Governor, I'm so glad that you took time out of your busy and beautiful life out there in Alaska to be with me on my first day today and to join the real story and to keep it all real. Governor, I hope to see you again sometime soon. Thanks so much.
Thanks, it's an honor. Thanks.
Thank you.